Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, I got a fun and interesting video for you guys today because I swear it seems like Valve can't catch a break in 2025 or 2026. They just recently won their patent troll lawsuit against a Rothchild, but I'm sure that cost them a pretty penny to be able to win. They also have all of the issues with the Steam machine delay and all of the different component price issues because of AI data centers, and now they're being sued by the New York Attorney General, accusing them of basically running an online casino because of skins in 3 of their games. And honestly, that's one of the weirder things I have heard. We're going to break down the entire press release and talk about why. Having grown up next to New York, I can tell you they're always hungry for money, and it feels like they're just upset that they're not getting a taste of what Valve is making. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. And you guys can debate this all you want in the comments. I kind of expect this one to go off the rails just because of the actual Attorney General of New York being a very well-known figure for a lot of different reasons. I will just leave it at that, and you guys can go ahead and go wild in the comments. But you'll see here, Attorney General James sues game developer for promoting illegal gambling through video games, claiming that 3 of Valve's games basically have slot machine mechanics. And honestly, when I read this article, I thought I was reading something from The Onion, because yes, these games contain skins, but unlike a slot machine in a casino, when you win those, there is a preset denomination of the money you would actually win. Skins have absolutely no intrinsic value within the world of the game, and if anyone or any website decides to assign a value to something that has no value stated by Valve, well, that's just speculative investing and speculative collecting. That is not gambling. Because if that is gambling, then Pokemon cards and Pokemon decks are absolutely gambling as well. Just consider them an analog slot machine because they do have some sort of value. But they're talking about children being forced to gamble within these games, and the most hilarious part is 2 of the 3 are rated M for mature, which means by the actual definition, kids shouldn't be playing them in the first place. Because again, these skins do not have any value. They are not a slot machine, even if they look like one. Because if you win a very rare skin in CSGO or any other game mentioned here in the press release, you actually have to find somebody who would be willing to pay you that money. Versus an actual casino, when you hit a slot machine, somebody comes around and pays you out for that win. Because if you get something, you have a predetermined value for it. And again, just think of it like Pokemon cards. If basically you can sell a rare card for money, then that means every Pokemon card pack in the state of New York would just basically be a slot machine without any electronics or any wheels. And if you grew up in a state with what we call RIP tickets, analog slot machines that you can buy at bars, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because those things actually do exist out there. And honestly, if I'm being entirely honest, I love a good RIP ticket session at a bar with friends. But going through this overall press release, this is absolutely just one of the things that I did not expect to have to read. This has been out for all of a day as I'm recording this audio, and you'll probably watch it a couple days after that, because I was kind of just trying to mull in my head what exactly is going on here. And I know this sounds crazy, but I was going through different law libraries in New York to understand the laws on the actual books. It's just something I like to do in my spare time. It's an interest and hobby for me, and honestly, basically everyone in high school, my guidance counselors told me I should go to law school. I just didn't want to bother with it. I don't really have the most glowing opinion of courts and lawyers. No offense if you are one. I just haven't had good interactions in the past as a business owner. And honestly, I've argued in front of 3 different judges and in front of 3 different lawyers representing myself, and your boy Video Game Esoteric is batting 1,000 on wins for that one. But you'll see here, they're saying Valve has made billions of dollars on these skins, and they want their taste. This doesn't really seem like anything to do with actual gambling. It seems like New York just wants a little bit of the action and probably wants a settlement, because New York's long-term outlook as far as their budget is concerned is very poor. They're sitting on a sea of red ink as far as the state's concerned, and they want disgorgement, which means they want Valve to pay them the money they have made plus damages so that they can actually have a quote-unquote penalty phase to prove that Valve is actually selling gambling in a video game. And you know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like New York is trying to make an end run on something that clearly isn't a slot machine, because the wins have no intrinsic value and you win them, you have to go to the free market. For me, that just basically sounds like taxation with a different naming scheme. Because trust me, I have lived in New York City, I've lived in Park Slope, Brooklyn, and they absolutely love their taxes just like Chicago does where I live now. And you will see here that you actually have these licensed gambling operators in New York State, and 51% of their revenue is considered a tax. That means 49%, at least is how I am reading it, of the actual net revenue that those gambling sites bring in. They get to keep that, but the state gets the actual majority. And then if you actually hit the lottery, or in this instance, if you sell a $1 million Counter-Strike Go skin, that could be taxed anywhere by the state of New York to 4 to 21%, at least according to the tax documents I can find online. So what this is New York definitely wants more of a taste of it. It's not enough that they get the sales tax from you buying these games, but obviously in some instances they actually don't cost anything, and it's not enough that if you actually sold a skin in New York, you would owe New York state tax, and you would get a tax document for that if it went over $500, and they want an even bigger taste. And honestly, that just sounds like New York in a nutshell. And don't think I'm saying anything bad about New York, because I absolutely love you guys, and again, I grew up in Vermont and shared a border with you, and I lived in your city, so it definitely is a place that I love to visit, and I think is amazing as far as upstate New York's concerned. But the government there, kind of like the government in Illinois, but we have a much better governor in my opinion. They just love to tax the ever-loving hell out of everything, and I'm really not surprised by this whatsoever. Because again, let's just narrow down on this whole online gambling thing. I can't stress enough, and I'm going to reiterate again, yes, you can sell these skins on websites, but the websites in the open market dictate the value of them. The same way that if you played a claw machine and you got a stuffed animal out of it, you could probably go to eBay and sell that for maybe $5-10 if you're lucky. That does not make the actual claw machine a sort of gambling device. It just means you found somebody to buy something that really didn't have all that much value. And again, yes, Valve assigns a rarity to these skins, but that rarity is not assigned a value by the people that make it. And I think that's going to be a very difficult argument to hold up in court. It's kind of like pachinko parlors in Japan, where you take the balls and exchange them somewhere else for a prize, and then you sell that prize to a third party, kind of getting an end run around the gambling. But in this instance, Valve really isn't trying to make this a slot machine, they're just trying to make it loot boxes. And honestly, I don't really care about the entire mechanic. I don't care about the games all that much. I play CS every once in a while, but otherwise not really games that I enjoy, but I do have friends that play at least Dota 2. And it's one of those things, all New York is saying is, we get our cut for nothing here, and they want to make sure that they are getting money off this suit, whether it's by disgorgement or some sort of settlement where they actually pay New York State whatever it is New York State thinks that they deserve. And again, that just sounds more like what this is, and you have to be aware, and we'll get into it in just a moment, this is a political position. That means the New York Attorney General, like basically every Attorney General, is voted in, not appointed by anyone. And if you're not familiar with the election season right now, she is up for re-election, so I'm sure getting a headline like this in the news, we're preventing children from accessing gambling, and even more so, and an even funnier term, in the actual press release, you know full well this is a campaign thing. I'm taking on this big evil corporation that is pushing gambling down your children's throats, trying to addict them for life. It's just a video game, they're just skins, and there is no value to them unless you can find somebody who will actually pay that value. And even though I don't really care what you do with your money, guys, I don't think these skins have any value, and I wouldn't pay a penny for any of them. And of course, you have to always go there when it comes to politics and video games. The Attorney General also had to mention that these games are also glorifying violence and basically making kids more violent again. And Jesus, are we going to do that argument one more time? I mean, this is Jack Thompson all over again. We know this doesn't happen. They're video games. Everybody plays them. My nephews play them. And the hardest they go is using Nerf guns to shoot each other in fights in the woods. I'm pretty sure our kids are going to be alright. I'm pretty sure if there is some harm to our children, it's probably the absolute garbage public school system that basically all kids get. And again, like I said, this is a position that's up for re-election, so you know full well they want a headline in the news that says, look what we're doing for your children. And that's why this honestly annoys me a little bit more than it probably should, because I hate this politicking. I hate playing games with people's opinions so somebody can get a couple extra votes and try to stay in office. And it comes as no surprise that apparently this re-election might not be a slam dunk. So what better to do than take on a massive corporation and try to get some more money for a state that's definitely running a deficit in the long term, and trying to say that Valve is running an online casino. Because trust me, if Valve's running an online casino, they're also running the largest mugging ring in North America and even the world, because every time I go on Steam, my wallet takes an absolute beating, almost like I got mugged in a back alley. But in this instance, it's because I bought too many games on sale like we all do. And this, again, is just one of the most ridiculous things I've seen. Yes, skins exist. Yes, there is a market for them. But if that is gambling, then so is every single Pokemon deck out there, every other card collectible where you can sell it for money, where you can buy it in the store. If you use this definition of gambling, then basically, like, every hobby out there could be considered gambling. Video games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, hell, you name it, and they could call it gambling. And I'm sure New York would love to do that because it means they could sue more people, try to collect more money, and try to make more deals so they can get a taste of it. Because trust me, this Attorney General is out there not trying to protect children. They're not trying to keep them out of casinos. They're not trying to keep them away from video games with pew-pews in them. They're trying to make a name for themselves in an election season, and they're trying to make sure that the state gets more revenue off something that they have not done whatsoever. And that is just basically government in a nutshell. We didn't do anything, and now you have to pay us for it. But short of that, leave me your thoughts down below. Hopefully you guys don't get into too many arguments down there, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.